I teach that. If you're not using WordPress to do your stuff, hopefully here, I'll introduce you in a second, sorry about that. But we have the tools out there now for us to create. And so being inspired by something like Once Upon a Time, by an artist, by another TV show, Adobe, me, all of us that are out there teaching creativity, digital arts, digital media, music, all these other things, we want you to start creating, not just consuming. And so when you do consume something like this, how can you take that and make it into something that's your own, but still be part of the fandom and still have the fun, and hopefully make this a profession for yourself as well. So you go out and you say, hey, I'm a writer, I'm writing, you're writing fan fiction, you're doing your own work, getting yourself exposed out there as well. So I wanted to talk about my guest here. So Jason, welcome, thank you. And Jason Palmer is an artist, and I'm gonna let him tell a little bit about himself right now.
Well, can you hear me okay? Is this true? Well, I was thinking about that when you were saying that, and creativity's, first of all, I was just going to address what you said, that it's important because it's expression, and when there's nothing wrong with, we want to consume creativity that supports other people who create, but we want to be inspired to continue to reflect that in some way. Some people have asked me, how come I don't create something new that's all mine? For some reason, I've always had this thing where I see a movie or TV show and I love movie posters because it was a way of illustrating everything about that movie, the story, the passion, the feel about it, the period piece, whatever it is. They could get it across in one single image, and it just fascinated me. Excuse me. I'd spend more time in a movie theater in the lobby looking at the posters than sometimes in the theater watching the movie. And I'd often find the movie itself could be a disappointment compared to how cool the poster was. And when I was a kid, I'd see a movie. People always knew what I saw over the weekend because that's what I was drawing in class. I was, oh, that was a cool movie, and I'm drawing stuff from it. So that was something creative, inspiring me to create in a new way, something based on it. So that's what we always want to do, is we take this in and you feel fired up by it, but you want to pass it forward, even if you only pass it on to yourself. Now, so I did that as a kid, and it led to me eventually being an illustrator. I've been working since 89, I think, 90, something like that. So about 25 years? I'm not good at math. Anyway, so I've been doing that all this time, and in fact, the phenomena of these shows, there's one after another. There's one weekend in September, I've been asked 6 different shows in one weekend. I mean, I obviously can't do them all, but they're all on this one weekend, that many places. And I think it's because of the creativity where it responds to, we all started getting back behind our computers inside, and we don't need to go out as much, but there's something in us that wants to interact with other people and get those juices going. I enjoy this thing. I want to enjoy it with some people. So you come to a show and you meet other people who love what you love, and your life becomes richer because of it. So it impels, like, I love this show, which has led to me meeting these people and going to this place and having this experience.
So let's talk a little bit about Once Upon a Time. So let's run it back to what everyone wants to talk about here. So we brought up a few of your pieces here, and you have a story about the one in the middle there, and how you kind of got into this fandom. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing because I think my wife and I had seen the pilot of Once Upon a Time, and it didn't grab us at the time. It was like, I'm a big admirer of Jennifer Morrison, beautiful woman, but I don't know, it just didn't grab us. And then a friend of ours, I do a show in Australia every year, and they said, we're going to have Jennifer Morrison coming out. Could you do a special print for us with Jennifer? I said, okay. Now here's the thing. I could just look at a picture of her and draw it, but I don't think you would respond to it the same way. So I need to understand what the appeal is. and kind of take it in. Even if I'm not going to be a huge fan, I have to say, well, what's cool about this story? What's cool about this character? So I started, you know, I've watched a few key episodes. I asked some of my friends who are fans and got into it and started finding the underlying themes that she's of two worlds. So like, how do I get that across? So I show a storybook through a mirror. I show that she's a determined warrior. She's holding a sword, but she's not. She's holding a sword, but she's not wielding it yet. And I just thought it was a very interesting way to go about it. And I wound up spending. I mean, there's a lot of detail. It took about a week and a half to do this piece, and it was a really fun. Like, so you could feel the leather. You get the sense of the leather scabbard and the beautiful jacket and everything else. Once I was there. Everyone was really happy. It was a big success, and the people running the show said, oh, someone wants to meet you. And it was Jennifer, and we hit it off really well. She's directing a short film called Warning Labels. When you guys get the chance to see it, it's a delightful short film. It's kind of hard to imagine a 10-minute romantic comedy, but that's what it is, and it's very clever, and she's a hell of a good director. I think she's going to do some great stuff. And she asked me to do some artwork for it. So one creative endeavor led to a social friendship, which led to more creative stuff. And I just talked to her yesterday, and she said, I'm off to Budapest. When I come back, I'm going to set up a meeting with Adam and Eddie. I want you to do some artwork for it. So there's no guarantee, but she's intent on that. So that's just an example of Once Upon a Time and the awesome Jennifer Morrison and creativity.
I got more of a technical question for you because I am from Adobe. Got to get my corporate plug in here. No, but in terms of the artwork that you're creating, what is your workflow? Now, are you doing traditional art and then bringing it into the computer digitally through Photoshop, scanning, digital photography, or are you actually working on the computer, actually drawing on it, let's say with a Cintiq or using Photoshop or some other programs?
Well, I started with just working on a board. I gessoed the board, draw it. Sorry, I'm really burpy. I draw it, I tone it as transparently as I can to maintain that drawing. Once the drawing is there, I don't want to paint over it. I want that drawing to be the foundation of the piece. And then you put the tones and colors in, then you bring out the highlights with more opaque colors. And then I started doing what you mentioned there. First, I started doing pieces on gray board. I'd do it all toned, black and white. I would scan it in and then convert it in Photoshop. Then I got a Cintiq, and I didn't want to get a Cintiq because I didn't think it would be, I don't know, kosher or something. I was like, it doesn't seem, plus your hand is in the way, why not use a tablet where it's off the side? And some of my friends said, it doesn't make you better, it doesn't change your work at all. It just makes you faster. And my wife went, what? Oh, yeah, okay. And a week later, one showed up. She didn't even tell me. Because I'm a slowpoke. And she's always like, hurry up, hurry up. So anything to make me faster. And I spend actually just as much time, but all of the time is drawing and painting as opposed to mixing paint and doing all that. But the technique's exactly the same. I draw it, I tone it, and then I render out the highlights.
Let me ask about your promotion online as well. So now with everything changing so much with the internet and all of our other social media, how have you adapted as an artist? Because you said you've been doing it for 25 years. How has those tools like Facebook, like Twitter, all the other ones that are out there, has changed the way that you present at conventions, how you work as well, and how people are finding your work and going back to consuming, how they're consuming your work differently than they did 25 years ago?
It's such a phenomena that I still don't take to it very naturally. I can go back to this piece. I did it, I think, last summer, and I was on my way to Australia. I was at the airport. I tweeted it, and I was like, hey, once upon a time. And I just don't, it doesn't come easy to me. I always feel, I was raised very like, you don't talk about yourself, you don't do that. And like when I see rap artists who always talking themselves up, I'm like, oh, that's really off-putting to me. But I have understood intellectually that you do have to say, hey, look what I did. Look at me. You know, put it up on the refrigerator, so to speak. But here's a funny thing. So I put it on, I tweeted the picture, and it got something like 30 likes and a few, excuse me.
Someone's watching you online.
All right. So I got a few likes, I got a few retweets, and that was about it. So a couple months ago, I'm in Chicago, and I've been working on warning labels, and Jennifer texts me, and she goes, hey, we're putting up the Facebook thing with your artwork on, I want you to know. I was like, oh, that's awesome, that's great. She says, hey, I thought I followed you on Twitter. I don't follow you on Twitter. What's your tweet handle? So I gave it to her, and I just went, I went back, and I was just cleaning up, because it was the end of the show. And my phone just starts going, kabling, 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 kabling. And my wife goes, what's going on with your phone? And I go, it's never sounded like this before. I look, and it's just like, just this long run of just, and so I text, and I realize it's because Jennifer's following me now. And I was like, holy crap. And so I text her, I go, what the hell? My phone just lit up. She goes, that's Once Upon a Time. And I said, no, that's also Jennifer Morrison. And then she said, post, and this was just her following me. So she said, put the Emma Swan piece up right now. And I said, I already did. She goes, just put it up right now. And by the next day, it had something like 440 retweets and 1,200, 1,300 likes. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to take likes down to the market and go, I need some food. You know, I mean, I don't know what to do with it. I'm just not, but I'm like, this is cool. I don't know what I do with it, but this is really cool. Great. And so, and just the other day, I think when I did Rebecca did Zelina, I showed it to Jen, and she was like, oh, this is awesome. And she tweeted it, and it's like, blink, 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 blink. So all I know about social media is know some famous people. I don't know what else to do.
Good hashtags, right? I'm going to segue over actually something else we want to talk about today, which is really the fandom as well. And like I said, there's writers out there that write fan fiction. We have artists who are doing amazing work out there that we would normally not call professional. And I don't want to call them amateur as well, but they're people who don't work in the creative industries that have a lot of talent. And once again, with all the tools that are out there now, and like the Adobe Creative Cloud, the open source software, the Wacom tablets, which was what the Cintiq is, it's basically a drawing pad that you work on, the iPad, your phones, your Android, all these great things, we're able to actually go out and express ourselves creatively. And what I want to do is I grabbed a few other people from the vendor floor in there, and I want to invite you up first with the book. So come on up here. And this is a great example of what we're talking about here and I'll let him introduce them. Move on down.
We're gonna act like
this isn't like the Tonight Show, where we're all good to go here. And I think you got a mic.
There's mics everywhere.
There we go, there's a mic. So introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your book and really how you got here.
Like here, or like here?
Your entire journey. Make
hi.
it short though.
Okay. My name is Jorge Ponce. I'm a writer. I'm also a filmmaker. And I wrote this pretty short-ish, not really, book called Grounded. It's the untold story of Peter Pan and Captain Hook. Why I wrote this book is, as a kid growing up, I loved Disney. I loved Peter Pan. I loved Captain Hook. But I never got a reason or backstory to why they hated each other so much, where they were constantly fighting. And then you had Hook, who we knew Peter cut his hand off, but we didn't even know why. So I just felt like it was missing something. And then the Robin Williams movie came out, but I still didn't get that. So I just have to do something. And so I did this crazy amount of research on the original J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, and an actual more research on J.M. Barrie himself, which is fascinating because you get a lot of how Peter Pan came to be. And I just like he was said in before, it's like all these creative juices just started flowing and ideas started happening, and then there's like Just this simple question of what if? What if Peter Pan and Hook had met when they were both 13 in London before either one of them knew anything about Neverland? And if they together traveled to Neverland, named Neverland, discovered Tinkerbell, discovered Tiger Lily, named them because they couldn't communicate, and then what happened when they fell apart? When one was forced to grow up and become a pirate, and the other one like refused to grow up. So I thought there was like a tragedy in there that needed to be explored.
So, in terms of publishing, I'm guessing right now, without knowing too much, you self-published the book, correct?
Yes.
So what was the journey to get there? Because that's something that's changed dramatically in the world. Is we've going from a large publishing house, which I actually used to work at. It was multi-million.
Do you want to borrow my mic?
There we go. Multi-million-dollar company where we had an entire legal team, we had our publishing, we printed everything up in Canada or in China, we were shipping things all around the world. And as that changed dramatically, Amazon's one of the big ones, and you can probably talk a little bit more about where you got everything printed and if you're doing print on demand and that. But all these new technologies that have come up and our ebooks and all these other things, once again, it allows you to go out and deliver what you want to the world as well without having to sign a multi-million-dollar deal or lots of money and all those types of things. So how did you end up self-publishing and who did you use?
I use CreateSpace, which is like, I'm pretty sure like a subsidiary of Amazon. What they do is pretty much, it doesn't cost a cent. You go in there with, it's a website, you go in there with your manuscript, and your cover book and like your edited manuscript pretty much, and you upload it into their system, and they give like a pretty much like a quick look, take a quick look at it and kind of just make sure that it's printable, that nothing's like falling off the page, and then it's pretty much ready to publish. And then you can just click the publish button, you say how many, like what the price range you want is, you upload your Kindle file, and this is the short version of it. But they do offer a lot of services of like formatting. Like let's say you don't know how to format a book, or like you need a proofreader or an editor, or like you need someone to design your cover. You can find these people in any other places because there's a lot of talented people, like for example, doing amazing art. So you can do it yourself and it won't cost you anything, or you can use their services, or you can find someone else. And then what Amazon gets from this is just a percentage of each sale. Because what they do is they print the book on demand, opposed to what they used to do, which was like the vanity press. You would have to order like a bunch of books, pay a lot of money for them, and then they'd be sitting in your closet if you couldn't sell them, for example. So I think that's one of the amazing things about CreateSpace in my case, and like how much power it gives you. Like there's so many people that write so much, and they just don't know about this tool. Like,
James, actually, I got another question for you. How has all of this new technology as well, printing, everything else, changed the way you deliver all of your stuff? Because you're probably ordering things online or maybe printing at home, or how do you deliver all of your prints and all of your special editions and all of that compared to what you maybe did 10 years ago?
Here's the big difference. Now I just do a lot of stuff myself. I have some really nice printers, big 12 that are better than what you could have done professionally 20 years ago. And there was a time when there were gatekeepers, and there was only a few of them, and you had to get past them. And I did. And I could still be on the other side of that gate, but so often now, they offer a fraction of the pay they used to. And they'll say, well, do you want to work for next to nothing where you have to draw something really slapdash in order to make any money? Or can I just do something that I think is really cool and share it with everybody? And I keep going to the latter. So I turn down covers all the time that will be seen by a lot of people. Maybe that's not smart because maybe you want to be associated with bigger projects, but they don't pay that much and they're not as creatively satisfying. There's so many pieces where I'm working on something that's a lot of people are going to see this and it's a really cool project. And you've got some guy who wears a suit, who went to business school, and it's like, all my experience at business school says that you should design this differently. They don't know anything about design, but they're telling me how to do, and
You're being told to do something badly, and everyone's going to think that you did it badly, but you don't get paid unless you do it badly the way they want you to do it. And it doesn't make any sense. So what Jorge's done.
Welcome to the world of graphic design. So.
Well, but it's gotten worse. I mean, I learned from Drew Struzan, fantastic, famous, one of the greatest illustrators of our time. And Drew said recently, all of my illustrations for the last 10 years, or well, he said this about 10 years ago, but he said that they're all bastard children because none of them are what I intended. And a lot of people are like, wow, Drew's lost his touch. I'm like, no, I was at his house. I saw it before they kept making him change it. It was beautiful. By the way, this is just off the, I hope you don't mind, but Jorge wrote something here that I thought was just great for creativity. You mind me? This? It says, for Kyle, I don't know who Kyle is, but it says, don't be afraid to grow up. It's only a trap if you forget how to fly. Isn't that a great line? Makes me want to read this. So, but that speaks to creativity, and something I feel very strongly about, so I'll say this
Go ahead.
little part. People often will ask me about, some advice about all that, and sometimes I always try to say something encouraging. The way Drew always helped me, I try to help others. But the thing that I always tell people, there's always a weird amount of shame with it, and like, this is my thing, it's not that good, and I'm like, why are you, get rid of that shame. Because there's a sense of, I've expressed myself. And like, you shouldn't feel that way about expressing yourself. It's like, well, I did this. It's not that good yet, but I did this thing. And you should feel good about it. And it's in our society or something. Little kids, they draw with abandon. They're having fun. There's no judgment yet. A little kid sees another little kid and goes, let's be friends. They don't think like, oh, that little kid over there, I don't know if I know. There's none of that. They're just like, oh, there's someone my size. Let's draw. Oh, I thought I was overwhelming it. Okay, thanks. So it's really important that if you do something creative, that's expression, and embrace it, even if it's not good. You don't have to be even a professional. And I always tell people, think about the tree in your front yard. If you were to draw the tree in your front yard just once, and you don't have to do it well, but you have to look at it, and you have to pay attention to how the light hits it, how many leaves are there, what's the shape of it. And if you commit that to a drawing, no, it may not be a very good drawing, but you gave yourself a gift. You expressed yourself, you did something fun, and for the rest of your life, or the rest of the time you live there, every time you leave the house, you'll look and you'll see that tree in an enhanced way that you never looked at it before. It was just there. Now you really looked at it. That goes for anything in your life. Stop and draw it, or write about it, or do something about it. And that simple act of expression, it's like what he was saying to Kyle. It's only a trap if you don't fly. Don't be a trap and say, I don't want to express myself. That's a relationship we have with ourselves. And when you stop doing that, you're shutting yourself down. There's a great line in Age of Ultron. Has everyone seen that? This isn't a.
No spoilers.
It's not a spoiler, but Ultron says something, and I've gotten to know Joss Whedon over the years, and this is such a Joss line. He's talking about life. This is an artificial life form talking about life. He goes, life creates. Life always wants to design. And I was like, oh, what a great line. And that is, we always want to make something else. We always want to create. And when you stop creating, you're not really living your life to the fullest. You don't have to be validated by someone else. You don't have to have someone pay for it necessarily. Just do it. And you're gonna enjoy it and don't feel bad about it. It doesn't even have to be good. Just the act of doing it is a good thing.
And that's something I tell my students, and I've worked on a lot of Kickstarters. One of the things I do is lettering and comic books. So I get a lot of books that come my way, and I get a lot of Kickstarter stuff now as well, which is another great, that's kind of another conversation for another day. But one of the things that I tell most of the people that come to me, and it kind of goes down the same line, is get things done. I watch so many students that come through my classroom with grandiose ideas that are awesome. They're the most awesome idea I've ever heard. And I tell them, I go, get something done. And they have that fear of, it's not good enough, or I'm going to mess this up, or this isn't as good as the person sitting next to me, or it's not as good as what I see online. They psych themselves out of actually doing the creative process. And I tell them, if you get a book done, and I just worked on a book for someone, they got 4 books done and a graphic novel, got it all finished, actually most of it before they went to Kickstarter, and they were very successful. They had 3 of them in a row that were successful Kickstarters. But what I told them was, you actually finish something, and nine people out of 10 never finish anything. They have great ideas, they go out, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, and they never actually follow through with it. They never come to that completion. Maybe it isn't a commercial project. Maybe it's something that you're writing. You've been working on that novel forever, or that screenplay, or you've been drawing a comic book forever, or you're doing something like that. The actual act of completing it, and you can probably attest this with your book, is actually having it done in your hand, even if it's on an ebook or whatever it may be, that feeling of completion. And also, too, from a professional standpoint, actually finishing the work that you do. I've worked with a lot of people that, one of the old stories I was telling when I did a lot of Marvel and DC stuff back in the 90s was, people would ask me, why is there a cover artist and why is the interior art 2 different people? I go, the cover artist is the rock star. They can finish 1 cover a month. Nothing against them, they're great artists, but they can't do 22 pages of sequential art in time. They can't hit the deadline. So your editor's there, and he's like, or she is like, I can't trust that person, but I know my buddy who's been doing books for me for 20 years will deliver it on time. And sometimes, from a, I don't want to say an artistic standpoint, but from a critical standpoint, people go, that's not as good as the cover. But you know something? That person is reliable. They're on time. They deliver the product. And so that trust is there. And that's beyond just the commercial side of it as well. If someone came to you and said, do a cover, you got to nail your deadline. You got to make sure those things are done, because then the next domino doesn't fall. That next person, that editor doesn't get yelled at by the printer, and so on and so on. So what I usually tell my students is, you got it done. I teach web design, and a lot of people will come through my class that don't have design background. We use WordPress, and at the end of the class, they have a website. It may be a template. It may only have their artwork up there. We teach a lot of digital media students. They only have audio and video, no design work. But I go, guess what? You have a website. You have a URL. You have an email. You have your accounts. You have your stuff up. And when you go in and talk to a professional and you're trying to get into the industry, you're a step above those other people because you got the job done. So I think we're pretty tight on time, and I didn't want to leave 2 other people out that are actually out in the vendor room, because I want to make sure they get at least a plug in here. But come run up here real quick. I know we're a little tight in here, but because one of the things, oops. Did you guys lose me? Oh. We're gonna be a little tight up here. But one of the reasons I wanted to get everyone kind of from the vendor room is because we had such a good cross-section of people that are producing things that are close to Once Upon a Time, and we got like 5 minutes, so I'm gonna kind of throw you guys under the sun here real quick. But I'll start with you.
Okay, so my name is Emily, and I design jewelry, and I also make and sell the jewelry that I design, and I brought some pieces with me.
Hopefully they can zoom in on that, if not. The green camera there. But, so one of the questions I'm gonna ask you real quick, just one question here, because I know we only got about 5 minutes, but I mean, the big question is why? How did you get into this, and why are you doing this? And I don't want to say how it ties into Once Upon a Time, but is that your inspiration as well?
I would have to say it is. Also Disney, like fairy tales in general. I just really love all of that kind of stuff.
Okay. And are you using platforms like Etsy and some of the others that are out there to deliver online and sell?
I mainly use Facebook. That's where all of my pieces are. So.
And your clients too, right?
Yeah.
And friends. So, like I said, we only have a couple minutes, but I'll pass it over here. There you go.
Hi, my name is Linda Heredia, and I am part of 1138 Clothing. I do Fandom clothing. It's all vintage inspired. As you can see, I do like crop tops, circle skirts, and dresses. And I am a big Once Upon a Time fan and other fandom. It did start off with a George Lucas film called THX 1138, and I used to do a lot of Star Wars fandom dresses, and then it just branched out to other things.
So, keep dropping off here. In terms of the dresses and everything else that you're doing, are you coming from a cosplay background as well?
It did start with cosplay, but then now a whole like fandom society started happening where it's like bounding more. So you just get your influence from these certain characters and you get to wear them as the dress.
Okay. And one of the questions that I asked a little bit earlier is how has the internet helped not only with the creativity, but also too from the marketing side and everything else?
It's helped really well. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and also Etsy.
Okay. So I think we're running out of time, but one last, I'm going to let, they plug, so I'm going to let you guys plug down there too, Jason and everyone else. So if you grab a mic, at least say for all the people on the internet as well, where they can find you online.
JasonPalmer.net.
GooFactory.tv.
1138 Clothing on Etsy. It's one word 1138 Clothing.
Okay.
Enchanting Jewelry by Emily, and you can find me on Facebook.
All right.
Can I add something?
Yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
I know we're pressing time. I think like I'm sure there's a bunch of creative people here, and like you have the power to produce whatever you want. I feel like we are our own worst critics. I've seen so many people's works that look amazing, and they're like, oh no, I hate it. I don't think it's any good, but it's really, really good. And this is your own race. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Some people got discovered or famous when they were 22, some people 44, some people 50, some people after they died. Some people didn't, but they did it because they loved it. And I think that's the most important part. Just do it for you because you enjoy it. If it's not good the first time, great. Work on it more. It'll be better the next one, and the next time, and the next time after that.
All right, we'll wrap it up here. Once again, too, thank you for everyone who was here, everyone that was online. And from the Adobe Creative Cloud side of the world, go take a look at it. Once again, I am with Adobe, but take a look because there's so many tools in there that can help you out, from Photoshop all the way down to Premiere and everything else. And for the people in the audience, we will be giving away a one-year subscription to the Adobe Creative Cloud. Sorry for the online people, we can't do that, but so we'll wrap it up here. And once again, thank you. For those of you in the crowd, make sure you stop by, see everyone in the vendor room as well that's here, take a look at their wares, and talk to them as well. I think as a whole, the fandom, everyone here, very supportive. Talk to me, talk to all of us. And another thing too is, I say this at all my shows, we didn't get into it in here because it's a little tougher. Talk to the people around you. You never know who's sitting next to you. I have made a lot of friends at lots of conventions and lots of other creative things. You never know who's sitting next to you, so always carry a business card as well. So thank you.
Jason, can I have your help for 1 second? All right. So, can I ask a question? Apples or bananas?
Oh, apples.
Apples. Okay. Pick a number between 1 and 6, please.
5.
5. Pick a number between 1 and 20.
17.
17. All right. Let's do this. We're going to go to row 5. Count in. And the closest person here is you. So would you like to win a one-year subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud? There you go. Come on up. Thank you, Jason. Right here. She's coming on up. All right. And we will be starting our Greetings from Storybrooke podcast fan panel shortly. Thank you so much.